Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakodas. Double honors, apostles, and elders of great millstone. Peace and salutation to your beloved Akim that is pushing this word in sincerity and truth with humiliation all across the four winds. To you, I salute. This is the brother Zai one back to another lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. And yeah, man, I came across this article how they saying these STIs can increase your chance of dementia, including one that's risen 700% in nursing homes. You see that shit? You see that shit? Because the ones with risen in nursing homes, alright, they ain't going to no doctor check to see if they get STI or anything like that. You know, the older people. Alright, but you're gonna see basically what types of STI can increase your chance of dementia. It says sexually transmitted infections, STIs, could lead to more than just awkward chat with your latest fling. Researchers suggest that certain STIs can increase your chances of developing dementia, a memory robbing disease that affects 1 in 10 adults in the US. That's troubling considering STIs are booming across the country, with more than 2.4 million cases reported in 2023 alone. Even more concerning, infections in adults aged 65 and older have more than doubled over the past decade. So you have even more older people more sexually active than ever now. Alright? Okay? Okay? The more wickedness increase, the more these plagues can increase. You have the adults 65 and older have more than double over the past decade. You know, the scriptures say you live after the flesh, your flesh, you're gonna die. Okay? Studies indicate that around 40% of people aged 65 to 80 are sexually active. You see that shit? 65 to 80 are sexually active. That's crazy. Alright, you trying to tell me nobody get no more self-restraint? Oh, let me get a quick precept, man. The second Esdras, the fifth chapter. Because intercontinency multiplied on earth, man. Second Esdras 5 and 10. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness, wickedness, and incontinency be multiplied upon earth. Okay, when you look up incontinency, what it does mean? Alright, incontinency in medical context refers to the inability to control the flow of urine or feces. Is also described as a lack of self-restraint or control, especially sexually. Alright, a lot of these people ain't want to choose abstinence. Even the older generation, 60 more, they sexually active, and they ain't gonna get the doctor get tested for no STI. Alright, so a lack of self-restraint or control sexually is prominent in the society. Alright, let's read on the article. With research showing that older adults are less likely to get STI screenings, and many healthcare providers neglecting to discuss sexual health with these patients, the age group may be particularly vulnerable to long-term effects like cognitive decline. That's hell. That's hell. Okay? Okay, you see that? They neglecting to discuss sexual health with these patients, the age group may be particularly vulnerable to long-term effects like cognitive decline. Alright? Because when you get older, you know, a lot of people get an effect with dementia as they get older. But fuck. You know, these plagues ain't playing. Yeah, for STIs that can increase your chance of developing dementia. If you have thoughts herpes it was just a case, It says herpes was just a case of pesky cold sores. Think again. Between 50% and 80% of Americans have oral herpes, HSV1, and in 1 in 6 people aged 14 to 49 in the U.S. have genital herpes, according to Johns Hopkins. But here's the kicker: the virus responsible for herpes can enter the brain and lie dormant only to reactivate later. When it does, some studies suggest it could be trigger inflammation in the brain, potentially damaging the brain cells and increasing the risk of dementia. That's hell, boy. That's hell. All right. In fact, people with HSV1, HSV2, or both are up to 2.44 times more likely to develop dementia compared to those who are being infected, according to a 2020 study from the University of Texas Medical Branch. You see how crazy that is? So that's one. All right. The herpes simplex virus commonly leads to small, painful blisters around the mouth. These findings underscore the need for more research into the mechanisms, underscoring HSV contribution to cognitive decline and whether such mechanism can be targeted as preventive strategy against dementia. All right. It says syphilis is making a big comeback in the U.S. and is not affecting the young crowd. Cases among adults aged 55 and up are increased by nearly 700% since 2010. Fuck! 700%? While syphilis is treatable with penicillin and other antibiotics, if it's not addressed, the affection can impact on every organ system. One particularly nervous complication is neurosyphilis, where the bacteria invade the brain and spinal cord, causing inflammation and damaging brain issue. That's why you see, a lot of people suffer, cognitive, the cognitive decline and all kind of shit. This hell, boy, hell, under this devil rulership. In later stages, neurosyphilis can lead to symphylitic dementia, which typically develops 10 to 25 years after initial infection. Symptoms include memory loss, confusion, personality changes, trouble concentrating, depression, and even delusion. Alright, that's hell. The good news, accuracy, neurosyphilis related dementia is potentially reversible, but it's only caught and treated, but only if it's caught and treated earlier. Alright, so coupled with the food and then these disease, alright, a lot of people suffer from brain fog and dementia and all kind of shit, man. The third one, genital wart, estimates that around 400,000 people in the US are living with genital warts at any given time. Genital warts are a common STI caused by certain strains of the human papillomavirus, can contribute to brain inflammation, a major factor in the development of dementia. Alright, a 2020 study using health science data from 16,000 patients in Taiwan found that individuals with genital warts caused by HPV have an increased risk of developing dementia. Research also shows that cervical cancer linked to HPV is associated with a heightened risk of dementia. You see that? Then you have last but not least, HIV/AIDS. Nearly 1.2 million people in the U.S. are living with HIV. When the virus spreads to the brain, it triggers inflammation, damaging brain cells, and releases harmful toxins, all of which contribute to cognitive decline, and in severe cases can lead to HIV-associated dementia. So that's crazy. In a 2022 study, researchers compared 13,000 Kaiser Permanente patients with HIV to over 155,000 people without the virus. They found that 2.5% of those with HIV were diagnosed with dementia over a 16-year follow-up period compared to just 1.3% of those without. On average, people with HIV were diagnosed with dementia 10 years earlier than those without the disease. So, that's hell, man. There you go, the 4 STIs. 4 STIs. These STIs can increase your chance of dementia, including one that risen at 700% in the nursing home. That's some shit. So you hear this. It says that even more concerning, infections in adults aged 65 and older are more than doubled over the past decade. All right, so you get the older adults even, you know, having a lot of sex, but they ain't gonna get, you know, I think tested or get screening. All right, like it says here with Slovakia, they said, let me read that part again. With research showing that older adults are less likely to get STI screenings, and many healthcare providers neglecting to discuss sexual health with these patients. All right, the age group may particularly be vulnerable to long-term effects like cognitive decline. That's crazy, and that's hell. That's hell. All right, all right. There's a part which says a 700%. I think they pass it. Right, syphilis is making a big comeback in the U.S. and is not affecting the younger crowd. Cases among adults aged 55 and up have increased by nearly 700% since 2010. But here it is, ages 55 and up. So the old and the young, all right, old and the young having a lot of sex. All right, so you got to protect yourself. Second Ezra 5 and 10, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied on earth. Ain't no self-restraint. I go into the word incontinency. All right, so pretty much, if you live after the flesh, all right, okay, you're gonna die. All right. This Romans 8 and 12 to 13. Therefore, brethren, we adapt us not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye live to the Spirit, do mortify the deeds of the flesh, ye shall live. These people ain't modify the deeds of the flesh. They ain't cutting these shit off, put the dead these shit. All right. They just want to please themselves, have sex, and do wicked shit. And it's just ain't the old, it's the young. It's just ain't the Salah. It's just ain't the young. It's the old also. As you see in the article. That's crazy. All right. Just want let me see if I could get um continent. I think there's a word in con. That's a precept I wanted to get. Right. The second Timothy 3 Second Timothy 3. Let me get us in a different get us into my swords. I want to look up a word. Alright, because we in these times, man, you know what I mean? The Lord sending these plagues on this earth, right? It says Second Timothy 3 and 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. So we in the last days. For men should be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful, holy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, without self-control, intemperate. Alright? Without self-control. A lot of people ain't having no self-control in these times. You know? That's why the Lord sending all these plagues and diseases. Alright? There's a scripture I don't want to get. The Lord seeking send plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction. Alright? The second Ezra 15 and 5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, a sword, famine, death, and destruction. Alright? Why? It's going to state why. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Alright? And their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore said the Lord. Alright? Okay? I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood cried unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And we complaining to Yahweh Shem Yahushai to get us with this bitch, because, alright, because these plagues coming on this earth. You see that? You see that 700% more in the Tingham homes. That's crazy, boy. The old Jews in the Lord and the young. So nobody get no self-restraint. Everybody just want to have a fling, a good time, you know. Because all in this world, this is um like the scriptures say, don't love not the world, but 1 John 2:15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in them, not in him. For all that's in the world, the lust of the flesh. Alright? These people that's want to please their flesh. The lust of the eyes and the alright, and the pride of life is not of the Father but of the world. Alright? Okay? So, hey, you gotta refrain from your appetite, man. Refrain from your lust. If not, you gotta be mindful. You know what I mean? These times, boy. You know what I mean? Because hey, it's crazy. You know, these plagues ain't playing. All right. But pretty much, like you see the article, man. That's crazy, man. The old people. All right. This hell under this devil rulership. All right. But yeah, man, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yah, Bashim Shai, Bashim Rakakadash, yeah, man, Shalom.